remember now those childhood days gone by. You woke up with the morning sun. It was warm and alive and fun. I'm a roll, don't turn around, I'm a roll.
Hello friends, fans and enemies, welcome to another Zane-Destiny video. This is another video on another locals that I attended at Geek Retreat Southampton today. This isn't a purple progression, this is a yellow progression. It's like completely different, and I also decided I don't want many friends. I decided to play Security Control with a mix of yellow cards, Beelstarmon. Pretty much I played 5 different colours with the more or less generic security control package. Came second, but I had quite a lot of interesting, intriguing, frustrating, fun matches. That's the name of the game, isn't it? You always want to have fun, which is always good. But yeah, let's go straight into the profile and, well, just have a quick chat about it. So, for the Digimon, I ran the 4 Upamon. This was the effect is if you've got 3 or less security, draw a card when attacking. Inheritable, of course. This is mainly teamed up with the 4 Salamon. So again, if I have 3 or less security and Salamon's deleted, I recover 1. So it was used mostly in conjunction, also for chipping away at opponent's security if I did decide to go a bit aggro. Fun little combination, though unfortunately didn't get a chance to get Upamon's effect off that much because I never normally had that reduced amount of security. I average about 5 or more, so I probably should have done that for a Cubamon. But again, this was just a fun deck. I'm not going to run this again because I'm not that toxic. So that was level 3s. Moving on to level 4s, you're going to be a bit curious about the level 4s, but this is security control. I played the 2 Mechanorimon, restanding blocker, always good. Cheap cost as well, so always nice. I did have these at 4 originally, but I only played 2 of the starter deck 7, I believe. The Gallopmon starter deck, Geogreymon. So security effect that when he's been hitting security, you get to play him, and on play effect, you get to delete a opponent's Digimon of 4000 DP or less. He was just useful for getting rid of, well, small rookies and things like that. And then I played 4 Cordramon, again from starter deck. I believe it's 8, the old 4 starter deck. This guy is similar to Geogreymon, only that when he's hitting security and you get to play him, you get to draw 2 cards. So he was my main draw engine for getting more cards in my hand. And of course, when teamed up with certain option cards, I can use the same effects again and again if I wanted to. So no digivolving to level 4 from level 3, unfortunately, but these guys were fun. They were interesting. They made things interesting. Also, Geogreymon allowed me to access certain option cards as well. Moving from that, I only played 2 level 5s. I played 2 of the Recovery Magna Angemon. So this guy is, if you hard play him, you get to recover 1. And I did it quite consistently. Recovery was the main game of this deck because the main aspect of security control is you let your security battle the opponent, more or less. The opponent attacks the security and anything can happen. Either it would be more recovery or minus DP, removal. Yeah, security control is kind of messy to attack into. If the opponent doesn't have a card like a Delicate Plan, which no one seemed to run today, it becomes issues. That's all I can say. Okay, running to level 6s, a bit of a odd variety. Played 2 Magnadramon. This used to be a staple of 4 in most security control decks, but there's other options I ran. Mostly played this that if I did end up at 3 security, you would hard play this one to recover 2, basically causing more harm to your opponent. It does have the on attacking effect that if I swing, I can bring out a level 3, but again, I either didn't have any rookies in my hand, yellow rookies, or it wasn't worth it, really. Played 2 Ornismon. So the main thing for Ornismon, which was if I hard play it, I can destroy an opponent's level 5 or lower. It also has security attack +1. 12 cost is a lot, but with this deck, I consistently got a decent amount of security memory back. But unfortunately, I never really got a chance to play this guy this much. He was mostly in my security, or I had other options to play apart from him to warrant an extra security attack. But 12k DT is pretty decent. I played the one Sakuyamon, so I only managed to play her out once. Her main effect really is that on the opponent's turn, any Digimon they move from raising to the main area gets -3 security attack. So it normally locks out decks like Jesmon, for example. Did get her off to do that once. Also, she attacks the opponent's security attack on my turn. The opponent's security Digimon gets -3 KDP. So technically, she's actually a 14k beat stick. Of course, that effect benefits your other Digimon that you got attacking as well. My level 4s, funny enough, were my main attackers, which was kind of hilarious. But yeah. And to get the frustrations going, I played 4 Beelstarmon. So with the Musketeers deck, you obviously know Beelstarmon, her cost is reduced by 1 for each 7 cost or Musketeers card in your trash. And when you get to play, you can add a 7 cost option card and use a 7 option card. She was good at attacking, good at removal, but strangely enough, I never saw enough of her. I did get a 4th one. I managed to get myself a 4th one. But there was times where I really missed her. And I blame that on the fact that I didn't really have a good amount of drawing. But not only that, a majority of my cards were going into my security. So I think there was one point I had at least 2 Beelstarmons in my security when I really could have done with them being in my hand. I guess that's where a TK could have been handy. But yeah, that's my level 6 party. And to finish it off for certain types of removal, I played the one Omnimon Sword Defeat. So this guy was mostly to either get from security, which happened once, or Digivolve on top of Ornis or Beelstarmon to delete a Tamer. I was against a Jesmon player. It was going it was happening both ways. There was a point where they had no bodies, but then they managed to get me down to low security, but then I recovered so much for security and got rid of their bodies. It was a lot of back and forward. It did end up in time, to time. We had to do the 1, 2, 3, but in the end, he actually won the match with Omnimon with Blitz, and I applauded him for that because it was a very sweaty, very grindy game. So it was very fun, and he managed to get rid of this by using I can't remember what it was actually. It was some sort of I think it was just Gaia Force actually. I hit Gaia Force with a Salamon actually to security, and they used the Gaia Force to take out defeat. Well, I'm not too sure now. It might have been that, and he was activating his effect. No, sorry, it was something completely different. I'm not sure, but whatever he used, it did actually bypass his deletion effect. So, but yeah, it was a very fun game. Really liked it. Let's so yeah, that's my level 6s. I'll just keep going. Again, I'm not going to play this deck again. It was just something I just threw together just because I could, because I felt like being that person. Right, so let's start off. We're going to move to the option cards now. So I played the card that makes a deck. I played 4 Reinforcing Memory Boost. So this one is when you play it, you reveal 2 cards in your deck. You add 1 to the top of security, and you add 1 to hand. Security effect, you put it in the battle area. It also has a delay effect that on your next turn you can send to trash to gain free memory. I use this card a lot. Really enjoyed the card. It was very frustrating for people as well, especially when I can show them the card I was putting on top, and most of them weren't happy with the card I was actually putting on top. It will be like, well, you'll see. You'll see. The next card I played was just Holy Wave. This one, you just recover 1 security. Same with the security effect that you recover 1. Additionally, I played Tactical Retreat. This one, you send one of your Digimon to the top of your security. Security effect, it also recovers 1. So I would pair this up quite often with my Cordramon and Geogreymon, because they get to top of security and you can activate the security effects again if they get checked in security. So that was really helpful. And I'll talk about some of the combos I was doing later. I also played code cracking. Hardly anyone knew what this card even does. Basically, it gives your opponent a choice. They could either choose to destroy one of their own security or let me recover 1. And it made some people think, because they realised the more security I got, the more dangerous I was. So it was a nice little interaction for people. And it was kind of funny because most people were like, I don't even remember seeing that card. I'm like, yeah, it's not played that much. I also played 2 Wyvern's Breath. Now, normally for this kind of profile, people will play 4. I do have 3, but I think I've done reasonably okay without it, but I think 4 would be a better choice. I mostly didn't max it out because it didn't work for my Beelstarmon, which in turn probably didn't work out for the deck anyways. So I'm going to move these options to the side for a second, because the next ones are a reason why I've got them out. So I played 2 Seven Heavens. So because it's 7 cost, it also plays in part with Beelstarmon for a reduction cost. But also, it feels kind of bad using an 8 cost Wyvern's Breath card for something that's not even worth it. So in that sense, it was easy using 7 Heavens. Not only that, if I did use Beelstarmon's effect, I can always add this back to my hand and use it without much worry, because the thing with the other cards that I'm running, 4 Fly Bullet, deletes level 6 or lower. 2 Gewaltschwarmer, deletes all play costs till 7 or less. 2 Happy Bullet Showering, deletes all opponents' Digimon with the lowest DP. The issue with these ones is I either needed Geogreymon in order to use Happy Bullet Showering, which I did against a Gallantmon. I would either need my Tamers or Mechanorimon to be able to play Gewaltschwarmer, which I did, or I needed a purple Digimon on field to use Happy Bullet Showering. So the easiest way to use these is with the Beelstarmon, of course. Whereas if I didn't have Beelstarmon, I could always resort to this, because no matter what, I'm always going to have a Digitarmir in Raising, which I can still use a yellow cost option card. That was the theory. Plus, it also added to Beelstarmon's cost reduction. And yes, I know I've already showed them off, but of course I played the 2 Izzy and Joe, because gaining 2 memory just because your opponent playing a game is great. And Izzy just to fix the deck a little. So its effect is, it's a memory fixing tamer, so you always start for free. Reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. If all the cards are black gain memory, that doesn't matter, but you can place the cards on top of your deck in any order. So if I wanted a certain card first and out those 3, I can put them back in the right order. Oh, sorry, knocking the table. And of course, if I had these 2 out and Izzy, I always start off with 7 memory when it's my turn, if my opponent has 2 or more Digimon. So that was always good. So I think next time, if I did want to do this, I would cut this down and put 2 Wyvern's Breath, because I think that's a bit more useful, because minusing 10k on most level 6s now doesn't delete them, but it is handy. It's handy against certain cards, I would say. That is the deck profile, really. It was... I tried to go through it as quick as possible, because I think this deck's kind of popular in knowledge to most people now. But I don't know, the interactions were quite fun. I mean, especially when people didn't even know what code cracking even done. because yeah, it's just one of those cards that isn't played much. Using a combination of Tactical Retreat just to put cards back is awesome. Also, the combination of Tactical Retreat is, there was a few times where I've had my Tamers out, so my black option cards were valid. So I would attack with either any Digimon I had, it would be a Salamon or one of my level 4s. Even if they survive, fair enough. I had a Geogreymon and a Cordramon survive, so I had Tactical Retreat. I would use Tactical Retreat to put this Digimon back on security. I would then activate Gavolt Shawarma to delete my Jesmon opponents, well, their Sistermons and their Huckmons, just to clear the field. So they'll be starting off with nothing again. It was fun interactions like that that frustrated opponents. I mean, at one point against a Black Craniumon player, I had 9 security because the game went on that long and anything could happen. So the games I played, the first game I won the first one, then lost the second round, and the third it went to draw basically. But the way Swiss works, you kind of win. It's an automatic win or something like that. But the issue was as Craniumon. Because I was giving them so much memory and they kind of knew how the deck was working, they just hard played Craniumon. And unfortunately, I wasn't seeing my Wyvern's Breath in time. So definitely playing 4 would have helped that out, because Craniumon can only be really to be destroyed by beating over it, DP reduction because it's a mechanic, not an effect, or bouncing to hand. And unfortunately, this deck didn't have much of that. The other option is, oh no, actually it'd be protected from that as well. So a lot of the effects I was running, the black deck players, blockers or anything was practically protected. So my concentration was either using a bit of code cracking just to play on their mind a bit, or finding ways of DP reduction and beating over. It did go to time in the third round, unfortunately, but hey, it was good fun. So that was a win-loss draw. Second player was it was a red deck, but I'd say it's mostly a Gallantmon deck. He had Gallantmon and Shine Greymon red. It didn't feel completely like the starter deck, but most of the cards were. 1-2-0 for that one, but that was a pretty fun one. I liked that one as well. That was I did most of my Tactical Retreat combos in that one, so kind of annoyed the player. Not annoyed the player, but it was interesting because this is the first time I actually physically played this deck, so it was nice seeing it in action. The third round, by this point I had won 1, lost 1, drew 1-2, and the third round it was a loss, win, loss. So that was against a Jesmon player who did play a side package of Gallantmon as well. That was a very fun match. So the first match kind of went a little bit slow because we weren't too sure what we were both playing. Second match, it kind of I turned into more aggro. So I was attacking with my level 4s and level 3s, chipping away, recovering so much. And yeah, at one point I had 2 Angemons. I had 7 memory. I played 1, recovered 1, played another, recovered another one. And then at that point the opponent didn't really have much security left, and I was using a combination of Tactical Retreat with the Gavolt Shawarma just to wipe their field of their Jesmon and blanks. Well, sorry, their Huckmon and the blanks and things like that. Third round, it it was so close. So it obviously went to, when it gets to time, you had 3 rounds. So if it was my turn, I'll be turn 0, then the opponent turn 1, turn 2, turn 3. It got to a point where, okay, it was turn 2. We were going to decide, it was going to be decided, I think, with security. So I thought, okay, I'll whittle their security down as much as possible. I recovered a little bit, so I left myself with 5 security, and it was going to be their turn. I did leave them with about 7 memory, I believe. So I thought, okay, I think I might barely win this out of just having more security. But in the end, they got a Jesmon out. they knocked my security down to about 2, I believe. So I was like, okay. Unfortunately, at this point, when it hit my security, I was getting like my Mechanorimon, my Salamon. I'm like, okay, these aren't the cards I really want in security, which is a shame. Um, then they managed to do something else, which I can't really remember. I think they just attacked with any old Digimon. And, oh, sorry, no. The Jesmon has security attack +1, and it was able to unsuspend. So it got me down to 0 security. And I'm like, oh gosh, we're both at 0 security basically. But he managed to play a Omnimon with Blitz, and he actually won the game down to turn 3. So unfortunate. It would have been funny to know what would happen if, because we were both at 0 security at this point, and it would have technically gone back to me because he had no more attacks left. I had a few plays in hand as well because I could have recovered more because I still had 2 bodies in the field. I could have used tactical retreat to recover 2 extra or something. I don't know, but I probably should have done that initially actually because it would have left me with 1 security even if he uses blitz. But c'est la vie, doesn't matter. I had fun with this deck. It frustrated a few people. I'm not gonna do this deck again. It was just like a one-off. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. The Unfortunately, there was still no packs, so still no booster packs. They weren't giving out EX01 for the booster packs, so oh well. So we just got I think it was BT4 pre-release packs, and I ended up getting Victory Greymon as well as Bancho Gulamon. I really need to sort out the lighting. I'm on a slightly different setup again. But yeah, that's the deck profile. That was the last locals tournament of this year, actually, because they're not going to be open next week. And of course, obviously, I think from the new year, I'm going to be hyping myself up to the Mastermon starter deck. So I'm going to be going back to basics, back to Mastermon. I'm going to do a very basic Mastermon using only Gatomon cards and black Gatomon cards. Nah, yeah, it's not going to win, but it's going to be fun. So that is my deck profile, guys. I'm going to try and do like different deck profiles, like different, not actually use them in locals, just sort of like ideas or throwing out ideas here and there. Just something a bit of fun. But I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Sorry about the lighting, but I'm just sort of like in the middle of rearranging stuff still. It's still up in the air. But I hope you have a great Christmas and a great New Year's. If I don't see you before, I'll see you through a window. Take care, guys. Bye.